Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Unshakable fascination with the dark, the forgotten corners of an ancient art. It feels so easy, so natural to fall into night arms. Annihilation, don't look back, fall into
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm very excited about our next guest because what a badass band and badass musician. So let's welcome to the show Brian from Night's Edge. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Dean?
I'm doing great. And so I was checking out all your new music, and it's pretty badass, and I love that there's a lot of variety to it, okay? Like, it's not the same song over and over and over again, not even the same, sounds like not even the same influences over and over again, which tells me you're a true artist.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we definitely, I don't know if we necessarily, like, consciously try and mix it up song to song or if it just naturally happens that way, but we just write what we want to write, and what comes out, and we just try our best to keep it cohesive between tracks, even though it's pretty varied at times.
And I think you kind of don't try, and that's what makes you a great artist. It's just like probably everybody that has some input has some different influences and different things that they bring to the table, which brings on variety, which I think makes you unique compared to a lot of bands nowadays that may sound exactly the same.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I definitely understand what you're saying with a lot of like our contemporaries, sounding very similar to their influences throughout their catalog.
So tell me a little bit about the new album. It comes out in August. Tell me a little bit about why this could be the best album yet from you guys.
So the new album, The World That Never Was, comes out on August 21st, and it's definitely our best work. It's our strongest songwriting. It's our best arrangements. All three of us are at our best in terms of playing and performance, like quality of musicians. Lyrically, it has the strongest, like, conceptual through line and just word choices and wordplay in the songs. And I think we really started to kind of find our sound on our last album, Strangers, but I think this one, The World That Never Was, this is really an album where what we are bringing forward, if a listener is willing to take the time and dive in, they could get something unique and kind of fall into a different kind of world, different kind of vibe that we bring that you can't really get anywhere else.
And you know what? I kind of think too, like, when you're a musician, you want to do better and better each album, and you kind of explore and you get better at your craft. But then you have your old school fans that think you should stay like a garage band. So maybe you can explain as an artist what that feels like when maybe the original people following you want you to stay basically new, beginner, and you as an artist you learn things, so you want to apply to things that you learn as you get better at your craft.
Well, I mean, I would think of that in the same way as, a person may think about, like, if trying to chase, like, commercial accessibility, for example. I think that if you are taking too much into account any outside person's opinion of how you should sound, and instead of just sounding how you do sound and how you want to sound, then, you sacrifice a little bit of integrity there.
See, I love that because, again, to me, that's a true artist that makes the music for themselves, and whoever likes it, well, they like it because they're on the same wavelength, and whoever doesn't like it, that's okay too, because they may like something different.
Yeah, we definitely make music for ourselves, make the music that we want to hear. and kind of, at least for me, it's writing the music that I want to listen to that I can't necessarily listen to because it's not out there yet.
Right.
In a way.
And then you have one song also where you have kind of, as I saw it put, Queensryche-esque vocals. But every time that you got, or like at least the first time you went on stage doing this, it kind of, I don't know, best way to describe it is maybe feels kind of strange to you because that's a pretty high standard to be held up to.
Oh yeah, I know exactly the song. That's "Someone to Stay," which is the first track on the album, and we actually released that. That's out as a pre-release single. We put that out in May, so that's out for anybody who wants to listen to it. Very 80s inspired, kind of has that Queensryche 80s prog vibe, but with the Night's Edge kind of gothy keys, synths, and all the left turns we like to put into stuff. But yeah, for sure, vocally, that is it's like a really challenging song. But I put down the vocals that I thought would serve the song the best. And when it comes to doing it live, I just got to do my best to match what I did in the studio. It's mainly that last scream at the very end of the song. It's pretty high. Sometimes it comes out as just a grit scream, which it's all right. But sometimes I nail it.
Nice.
Wins and losses.
Well, even like, okay, you take a lot of bands, they when they do it live, they can't necessarily hit it the same way. Funny story, like Tom from Slayer, when he did Angel of Death, like that was a one-off. When he did that scream in the beginning, they were in the studio. He did the scream, like didn't practice or just did it.
Yeah.
And then they wanted him to do it again. And he's like, I can't do it again. That was it, but, I think people don't really grasp sometimes that's how it is, man. It's like, even with a riff, like how many times do artists come up with a riff but then they don't like note it down or anything. And it's like, it may never happen again.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do make an effort to reproduce everything we do in the studio live as best as I can. And all of us do. Like we want to sound great, and I think we are good live, but we definitely want to sound great live too. So even though I may have pushed myself in the studio, I kind of interpret that as a, it's a challenge for myself to keep up with that standard live.
And what I always want to find out from artists like you is, how do you sing and play an instrument at the same time? Because to me, that's like rubbing your head and your tummy at the same time.
I guess just practice. So I originally started on guitar, and I've been playing guitar since I was very young. And I started singing and playing guitar in like high school, and I'm in my early 30s now. So just doing it for 15 years. I think it's mostly just practice.
Do you feel you get thrown off sometimes?
Excuse me?
Do you feel you get thrown off sometimes where like sometimes you kind of have to focus more?
Sometimes it can definitely be a little bit challenging in that if I don't lock in and really make sure that I'm like in the zone, but not necessarily thinking about what I'm doing. Because if you think about what you're doing, then you're going to screw up.
Totally.
But if you're not thinking about it at all, if you're thinking about something else, or if you're not present, then you're going to screw up too. You have to be in like this middle place where you're like locked in, but you're not too conscious of yourself. And as long as I stay there, I'm okay. And we practice all of these songs to death before we ever bring them out live. So I'm not going to, we're not going to be playing anything live that we can't get through. Right. And we're able to get through everything before we even get to the studio. So it's just practice. And by the time you see me play it live, I've played it probably 100 times, and I'm just used to it now. I don't know. It's not. I don't have like any sort of specific mnemonic device or learning strategies. I'm not like a trained musician or anything. It's just grinding it out basically.
Sometimes it's better to just be doing it. You said practice. I think that's key right there, because it just becomes second nature when you practice it that many times. And that, I think that's the best way to become a great musician. You know, you take somebody like Randy Rhoads, he practiced 8 hours a day every single day. That's why he was a great guitarist.
I wish I had the time to practice 8 hours a day every single day.
I know, right? I played guitar and I sucked because I definitely didn't even have the time to play an hour every day, or maybe even that strong a desire. I think that takes a lot of desire to do it, the same thing for 8 hours a day for sure.
Yeah, you have to want it for sure.
Yeah, totally, and get through that beginning part. For me, the hardest part was, you know, going through scales bored me to hell, and people that were trying to help me play guitar, they're like, you got to do the scales first. You got to do I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just want to play a song like most people do. But you gotta do that framework, that foundation before you can shred.
I mean, I guess I did some of that when I was learning guitar when I was like very young, you know, like elementary school and stuff. But by the time I really started getting good at guitar, I was just playing along to like Metallica and Then Sevenfold and whatever I was listening to at the time. That all started right around the same time. I started getting into heavy music, like heavy music.
Nice.
But it was just play, like it was practice.
Yeah. What was that first moment that you thought of picking up a guitar? What happened or just music in general?
Honestly, my parents got me a guitar for Christmas or a birthday when I was 6. It was a Squire Mini Strat, like this little bitty baby guitar, but I was a child, so it fit. And it was like, sign me up for lessons, practice half-hour a day, and did that, you know. And then by the time I was 10 or so, then I was into it enough and I was good enough at it where I just kept doing it on my own. I kept doing, like, you know, the little lessons and stuff like that. And yeah, then by high school, it was just playing in bands, and not even high school, middle school, playing in bands, doing the whole garage band thing, playing in basements, churches, stuff like that.
And so what do your parents think now?
Oh, I mean, I think they're happy that I'm, you know, still playing music and still enjoying it. They don't really enjoy the style of music very much, but but I think they're glad that you know, they set me on a path for something that I enjoy in life, and I am glad that they did that.
What else do you want to tell us that's going on in the rest of 2025 that the listeners need to know about?
So we just put out our third single from the album, Smite. We put that out a couple days ago on June 5th or 6th. It was last Friday. That is out everywhere. There's a really awesome and funny lyric video that goes with that is available on our YouTube. I encourage everybody to check it out. That song's a heavy one. It's a lot of fun, kind of Slipknot reminiscent almost. We have another single coming out next month called Love Fiction. That one's a lot more kind of sad and contemplative, very gothic, almost like a synthwave electronic influence going on in that one. And then, of course, the album, August 21st. And we're going to be doing as many shows as we can. We're in Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. So we're in the mid-Atlantic area. We do the Weekend Warrior thing where we'll just go to cities around where we are and play shows Friday and Saturday whenever we can. And if anybody wants us to come to our town, let us know. We'll do our best to make it there. And we'll probably do a post-release music video in addition to the video that we're going to do on the day of the album release. We're going to record a video for the song Soaring. And then once the album's out, we'll probably do one more post-release music video along with just short-form content. All the lyrics for everything will be put out onto Spotify so you can like read the synced lyrics with the videos. And we're going to try and support this album as best as we can and keep it in people's minds after it's released, because we really believe in what we have, and we don't want it to kind of just get lost in the mix.
Well, I think the new music is badass, and everybody should definitely check it out. how do they connect to you guys on socials, on the web, get the new music, check out merch, all that good stuff?
We are on every social and streaming site that you could think of. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, etc. If you look up Night's Edge, you'll find us. If you Google Night's Edge Band, like, all of our stuff comes up. We have a website, nightsedgeband.com. That has all of our links, all of our information. We're pretty easy to find. So if you look for us, you will find us.
Nice. Well, they definitely have to look for you because it's not only great music, but great musicianship. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipe Man.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Dean.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipe Man on W4CY Radio.